noches, mi amigos. It is UFC Noche, UFC Fight Night in San Antonio this Saturday. And I know I'm usually a picks and preview guy on a Thursday evening, but today it's on a Friday evening because I got busy yesterday. But let's just jump right into this. Before we start, though, I'm going to say something. This is not a very good card. If you're a hardcore, there's some fights on here that are fun. And it's for sure, I can't get enough of this UFC, man. I just can't. But it's not a good card. It's really not, especially for like this Noche event that Dana does, even though there's barely any good Mexican fighters. The best one's Diego Lopez, and he's really from Brazil. He just claims Mexico. But we're not going to get into that. We're going to get into some fights. We're going to get in some picks and some preview of this weekend's card. Starting off with the early prelim opener of Daniil Donchenko and Rodrigo. I can't say his last name, to be fair. Let's see. Yeah, let's put the cam there. I like it there. I'm going with Daniil Donchenko. Oh, before we start, there's a lot of fights on this card, and I don't want this video to be super long. So the earlier the fight, and the less interest there is in the fight, the less time I'm spending on it. Okay? Fair warning. But I'm going with Daniil Donchenko here. I did watch the earlier episodes of Tough, and Daniil looks good, man. He improved over the season too, at least what it seemed like. I watched the fights and the finales, or like the semifinals. And his regional scene compared to Rodrigo's, which was a much tougher competition, he faced some pretty strong wrestlers, and the only avenue for Rodrigo to win is by taking this to the ground. And I believe Daniil just has the skills to defend those takedowns, get back up if he's put on the ground, and I think his striking is just levels above Rodrigo, and I think he's going to piece him up on the feet, and I'm going to predict a second-round finish for Daniil Donchenko here. Moving on to the next fight. This fight is so interesting and so good that you are going to have to pay for my OnlyFans for my Technical Tuesday video that I already posted Tuesday. It's about 2 hours long. We really get down to the finest, minute details of this amazing fight that I'm so hyped for. So I'm not even going to give it a pick. I'm not even gonna give a pick. You're gonna have to go to the OnlyFans. Same deal, CNOL MMA on OnlyFans. Alessandro Costa versus Alan Correa. I want to pick Correa because he's a Texas boy, but I'm going with Alessandro Costa. His only two losses in the UFC are against Amir Albazi and Steve Erceg, who are two top 10 guys, I believe. I believe they're both in the top 10. Those are his only losses, and in those two losses, he looked very competent, looked pretty decently well-rounded in the game. Correa taking this fight on short notice. I'm going to take Alessandro Costa, mainly due to the fact he just has much more experience. Correa's taking this on short notice, and Correa did not fight the toughest opponents on the regional scene, so I just don't see him being ready for this step up in competition. I think this is an easy win for Costa. Moving on to the next fight, Zachary Reese and Cedric Dumas. We got the criminal. The only guy that rivals John Jones for criminality in the UFC MMA space is Cedric S. Dumas. And I think he's honestly a pretty awful fighter. Zachary Reese is pretty decent and somewhat fluid and, fundamental on the feet. He's decent there, has a decent amount of power. I think he wins this fight on the feet quite easily against Dumas. I honestly see a finish here, maybe in the second or third round for Zachary Reese. Reese only really struggles with ground guys and guys that are clearly better than him on the feet. And Dumas is not better than him on the feet and really has no ground game whatsoever. So I'm going to have to pick Zachary Reese here, especially with his finishing ability. Shout out Zachary Reese from Texas in his home state. Big T. Let's go Zachary Reese. Second or third round finish for Zachary Reese. Jesus Aguilar versus Luis Gurriel. I will be taking Jesus Aguilar. Um, to be honest, I'm mainly picking this because Jesus just has so much more experience in the UFC. I can't remember a Jesus Aguilar fight. If y'all want me to be honest with you, never seen Gorilla fight either. So taking Aguilar off of experience, think it's very important here. And just doing my little research, Aguilar, just with experience in the UFC, has fought much tougher guys than Gorilla. So I think Jesus Aguilar gets this done Saturday night in San Antonio. Moving on to Tatiana Suarez versus Amanda Lemos. Also did about an hour, 45-minute breakdown of this over on the OnlyFans. And because this is a very complicated technical fight we're going to see here Saturday night. I can't believe this isn't the co-main event. I mean, are y'all just outraged as much as I am over that or what? Let me know in the comments. But to keep it short and simple here on the YouTube channel, I'm going to take Tatiana Suarez. Amanda Lemos, when she's been put on her back, struggles there very, very much so. I think Tatiana Suarez, even though she got destroyed by Weili Zhang as every other flyweight, or every other strawweight does, Amanda Lemos did as well. And I think Suarez is good enough to avoid getting possibly finished by Lemos. She's one of the few women's fighters that does have finishing ability for women's level fighting. No hate to women, like for real. I love women. Women are sick, but yeah, I'm not a big. What should I say here? Yeah, no. Suarez wins, man. I kind of like Suarez too. She's pretty cool. Pretty cool gal. She's a good wrestler. Think she gets top pressure this whole fight. Wins 30-27, 29-28. Maybe Lemos lands some decent shots and gets some damage done in the second or third round. But I think this will be a little too easy for Suarez with her top control. So I'm going with Tatiana Suarez. Moving on to Claudio Puelles, the old leg lock guy himself, taking on Joaquim Silva. And I just can't bring myself to pick Claudio Puelles in a fight. All he does is roll for leg locks. And he's shown nothing much on the feet whatsoever. And I think Joaquim Silva, while maybe not greatly fundamentally sound and technical on the feet, is very explosive and very powerful. And I think Claudio Puelles is going to be very hittable. I could honestly see Claudio doing some weird, rolling, some very very niche jiu-jitsu attempts of submissions here, and Joaquim Silva maybe landing some nasty elbows or just some weird strikes up close to finish him. But I also could see Joaquim Silva exploding all over him and knocking him out at some point in this fight. I feel like Puelles maybe survives round one and Joaquim Silva gets it done in round two by KO. I just can't bring myself to pick a guy like Claudio Puelles in an MMA fight the way he fights. Nothing against him. Great jiu-jitsu guy. At this point in MMA and the UFC, you can't be as one-dimensional as Puelles. So, and Joaquim Silva is a very brick wall guy. So I think I don't think Puelles is going to be able to land any traditional takedowns or trips, anything like that. So I'm going to go ahead and pick Joaquim Silva to knock out Claudio Puelles in round two. Moving on to one of the most low-level fights that you can possibly make, in my opinion. I think both of these guys are trash and should not be in the UFC, all due respect. But I'm going to take Dusko Todorovic. Mainly I just think Dusko's just kind of better. Like just well-rounded in general, especially on the feet. I know Mendina is very, very gritty and whatnot, so maybe, he kind of grits his way to a decision win here, but I think Dusko will have more opportunities to finish him. His hands aren't that horrible, so I think Dusko just puts hands on Medina and gets, maybe a finish, most likely like a 29-28 decision. This is a very low-level fight that should not be as high on the card as it is. This is very low level. This is one of the fights I'm not excited for necessarily, but I think Dusko get it done. Low key though, this could be like they're both not that good, so it ends up being kind of a scrappy, not too technical, good watch. So let's all root for that in the end, I think. But I'm gonna go ahead and pick Dusko old Dusko, my old pal Dusko, to win this fight. Moving on to the last fight of the prelims, should be on the main card. I would honestly put this as the co-main event. This is a pretty good fight. We got Alexander Hernandez taking on the vet of the lightweight division, CDF, Carlos Diego Ferreira, looking like he's just going by Diego Ferreira right now. I don't think a KO over Chase Hooper that Alexander Hernandez is coming off warrants me picking him or anybody picking him to go out there and defeat Diego Ferreira. I know he's 40 years old. Alexander Hernandez is the much younger guy, but Diego Ferreira has been doing this a while, has fought much higher competition. I mean, not too long ago, he went out there and beat Mateusz Rebecki. Is this? Yeah, Rebecki, however you say his name, who's a pretty solid lightweight contender / prospect. On the up and up, well, kind of on the down and down, even though it was a fantastic fight between him and Chris Duncan. Nevertheless, I'm going to take Diego Ferreira. I'm going to take him by 30-27 decision. I think anywhere this fight goes, especially the ground, I think Diego is a very crafty guy. He's been in the UFC a while now at this point. I think he has the ability to control Hernandez on the feet. Hernandez is very just basic everywhere. He's pretty decently well-rounded. I think he's kind of vulnerable on the feet, though, as well. I mean, of course, Chase Hooper, with his pillow hands aren't going to do much damage to Hernandez. But Diego Ferreira has sneaky power on the feet. You know what? I honestly think I'm going to take Diego Ferreira, third round TKO. I think we see some good control from Diego Ferreira on the ground, and I think maybe we either see a TKO finish for ground and pound, or once he kind of wears out Hernandez on the ground, or even just on the feet, I see Diego Ferreira getting a late TKO finish in the third round. Just his experience, man. He's fought so many more high-level guys than Hernandez, and anytime Hernandez has kind of got a high-level bump, he's looked not good. Whatsoever, especially recently. The guys he's beat, besides Hooper, who I think's kind of decent, even I know I picked Hooper to win the fight. I mean, he beat Austin Hubbard and Kurt Holoba. Yeah, that ain't getting it done against Diego Ferreira. I think he has enough gas in the tank at his old age to get it done against Alexander Hernandez Saturday night. So, CDF for the win, third round TKO. Moving on to the main card. Why this fight is on the main card as well, I do not know. I'm taking Santiago Luna to defeat Kwong Lee, mainly due to the fact I feel like unless you are an Asian prospect that their base is wrestling, their wrestling and grappling is very, very low level. Santiago Luna has a pretty decent base, in American freestyle wrestling, even though I wouldn't say that's even like a crazy base to have at this point in MMA. But I think it's going to be good enough to get the job done against Kwong Lee. Santiago, somewhat explosive and decent on the feet as well. So, I think he gets this done mainly due to his groundwork. But I also could see him on the feet, finding a decent shot. He has a decent amount of power. I've watched a little bit of clips of him fighting, preparing to make these picks. So I'm going to go ahead and go with Santiago Luna in his debut, repping Mexico to get it done against Kwong Lee. Moving on to freaking Kelvin. Oh my gosh! Look at Kelvin, and he weighed 191 pounds, guys. My goodness. Dude, go up to heavyweight at this point. Dude, if he wanted to go to heavyweight, he would just look like DC at the end of his career. I'm not like a ripped, jacked guy or anything by any means. I'm a little tubby, dude. But my goodness, I'm just glad I don't have the Kelvin Gastelum build. And I'm on the up and up or the down and down. I'm dropping this fat. I'm dropping pounds. It's actually my cheat day today, and I'm very excited about that. Comment below what I should be eating for my cheat meal. Nevertheless, let's go ahead and get into the fight. Kelvin Gastelum, MMA, skill-wise, is leaps and bounds above Dustin Stoltzfus. Sadly, I don't know really why I said sadly, but I think really anywhere this fight goes, whether it be in the wrestling department, on the feet, Kelvin is actually a pretty solid boxer. That fight with Joe Pyfer was a lot closer than people really wanted to admit, even though Kelvin's humongous, he should be a lightweight. Look, that's 30% body fat, man. Even though he really should be a lightweight fighting at 185. I mean, he's fighting at 191. Good night, Kelvin. He's sneaky quick, kind of on the feet. Very unassuming guy. I hate it. I hate that he does this to us and misses weight and can't, get lean and mean for us. I'm a fan of Kelvin, though. I like how he fights. I like how unassuming it is. It reminds me of me back in the day on the old football and field and the old basketball court. I was a tubby boy, and I was a little unassuming, and I'd catch you with a little three-pointer, or I'd get this arm, and I'd freaking, chunk a touchdown. I was pretty good at sports in middle school. That's when I peaked, really. Nevertheless, I'm going to take Kelvin Gastelum, especially on the feet. I think Dustin Stoltzfus has not seen a guy at this high level as Kelvin Gastelum, and I think he's going to struggle quite a bit in this fight. I honestly think Kelvin Gastelum gets a finish. I'm going to be bold here and say Kelvin Gastelum gets Dustin Stoltzfus out in the first round on the feet with his boxing. Very unassuming on the feet, and he did miss weight by 5 pounds as well, so hopefully he saves us the despair and just goes ahead and knocks out Dustin Stoltzfus in the first round, man. Let's do it, Kelvin. Oh, man, let's move on. I'm laughing way. Yeah, man. Yeah. I'm sorry. Gosh, dang. Jared Gordon taking on Rafa Garcia. I think this is such an obvious pick. I'm taking Jared Gordon. He should hold wins over Bobby Green, Paddy Pimblett, and Nasrat Haqparast, however you say that last name, Kelvin Gastelum Jr. The lean version of I'm telling you, if Kelvin lost the weight, he would look just like Nasrat at lightweight. But nevertheless, taking Jared Gordon. He's a very slick boxer. He really is. On the feet, he mixes in some decent calf kicks as well. Rafa Garcia has not fought the comp that Jared Gordon has. The only guys that Rafa has beat are old guys like Clay Guida and a couple cans coming off the regional scene. So I'm taking Jared Gordon. Has underrated sting in his shots as well. I like Jared Gordon by a late third round finish or a domination of a 30-27, possibly a 30-26 on the feet. I think we're all going to wake up to really that Jared Gordon should be a top 15 lightweight in the UFC. I think he's pretty dang good. I'm a fan of him as well. He's a recovering drug addict, fighting at the highest level in the UFC. Just seems like an all-around good guy. I like to root for him. I think he's much better than Rafa Garcia. Garcia's forte really is his hands on the feet. Not much of a ground guy. And Gordon is just so much of a better boxer. So I think this is going to be a domination, an absolute will to win from Jared Gordon. Just putting the mustard, just, pepper in that boy. Put the pepper on him, man. Put the pepper on Rafa Garcia. Jared Gordon with a 10-8 round mixed in there. Possible third round KO or a dominating 3-round decision for Jared Gordon. Moving on to the co-main event. I hate that this is a co-main event of what's supposed to be a big fight night. Nevertheless, all the respect to Rob Font. David Martinez is nowhere near the skill level of Rob Font. Understand Rob Font at this point in his career is aging. Nevertheless, I think Rob Font is just going to be able to stick behind that jab. He has one of the best jabs in the bantamweight division. Probably top 25 jab in the UFC, if we're getting into the, nitty-gritty of it all. But David Martinez, mainly a wrestler, an explosive, powerful guy on the feet. But Rob Font is a very good boxer. He mixes in some nice calf kicks as well. The angles and the head movement of Rob Font, I think, will be way too much for David Martinez to land anything significant or catch him. Even though Rob Font did look pretty weak in his last performance against Gene Matsumoto, who honestly you could argue that Gene Matsumoto won that fight. I believe I did score that for Matsumoto, but nevertheless, I think with his experience, he'll be able to uh, keep off his back in this fight and keep it on the feet, work his boxing, and get probably. I'm going to go a 30-27 unanimous decision win for Rob Font, reminding us of that he's a dang good bantamweight guy, a great gatekeeper, and I honestly feel bad that he's fighting Raul. He was supposed to be fighting Raul Rosas Jr. I kind of feel bad that on this card he's ended up fighting a guy no name whatsoever, short notice. I kind of feel bad for the guy, but he's leaps and bounds above David Martinez. Skill-wise, especially on the feet, I don't see David really having anything to offer for Rob Font anywhere, especially if Rob Font gets that jab going. It's going to be a tough night in the office for David Martinez. Rob Font, UD, unanimous decision, win Saturday night. Now we get to the main event of the evening. Diego Lopez rocking a beautiful, beautiful mustache. I'm really digging it, my friend. And Gene Silva he looks so old. I know he's not old. He's pretty young, but he looks so old with that hairline. I love Diego Lopez. I will be rooting for him to win this fight. I like watching Gene Silva fight. He's a very entertaining fighter. I don't like him much as just entertainment or an athlete in general. I think he's annoying and cringe. I think I don't. He's like the most cringe and annoying fighting nerd by far. The other three are actually pretty cool. And I know a lot of people are switching their picks to Diego Lopez after Kyle Borralio's loss, but I am going to be picking Gene Silva. I think Gene Silva's power, like Ilia Topuria, at 145 is too much. I think Diego Lopez, even on the feet, with his high guard and his tight boxing, I think Gene Silva, we could see probably Lopez get round one and maybe two off Gene Silva. It takes Silva a little bit to get his range and whatnot. But I think where the angles that Gene Silva creates on the feet, mixing in unorthodox kicks, those side kicks, and just his power and where, he throws punches that you don't see coming. I think at some point in this fight, I don't really have a specific round. Maybe it goes to decision just because at some point Gene Silva's going to find the timing. He's going to... And Diego Lopez don't back down, and I think Gene Silva is going to thrive in this moment. He thrives in big moments. He does have aura, even though I don't like him, and I will be rooting for Diego Lopez and maybe putting some money on him as well. I know that's kind of stupid to say, even though I'm picking Gene Silva. I just like the underdog odds for him. But I'm giving like a 80% chance Gene Silva gets this done. And Diego is very well-rounded. He has a solid ground game. But he will have to dictate whether or not the fight goes to the ground. And I think Gene Silva has shown us, and probably is continuing to work on this, that he has good takedown defense. He's not a slouch of a grappler himself either. And I just don't see Diego really putting Gene Silva in any compromising positions on the ground to really edge out any rounds or to finish him there. Even though he does have a good submission game, but I think Gene Silva is going to come in prepared, know to defend the submissions, and I just think after the first round, I think Diego's going to have a very hard time hitting John Silva, and in combination with him not being able to get it to the ground, I think that third, fourth, and fifth round is all Gene Silva. Most likely a knockout within those rounds, but if it goes to decision, I could see multiple knockdowns by Gene Silva. We'll be rooting for Diego, but I think John Silva's the real deal. I think he's maybe the best featherweight in the UFC currently, with Volkanovski probably out of his prime. I'm praying Lopez wins, though. I do not want to see John Silva versus Alexander Volkanovski. I do not want to see Alexander Volkanovski unconscious again. So I'm really going to be pulling hard for Lopez in this fight, but I'm going to go with my brain here and not my heart. I think Jean Silva has every tool to win this fight with his takedown defense and with his angles he creates on the feet and the multiple weapons he throws. Diego Lopez is mainly a boxer calf kick guy, and as good as he is at that, I think Jean Silva is going to attack the body of him as well early and maybe get his hands to drop, and I think he's going to find some nasty counters that puts Diego on the canvas. But I will be rooting hard for Diego Lopez. Those are my picks. That's my breakdown. That's my preview of UFC Noche, UFC Fight Night this Saturday in San Antonio, Texas. Guys, drop me your main event predictions. Some of these fights that you may disagree or agree with me on, and let me know how you feel about these fights. I'm excited to watch them this weekend. I wish the card was better. Nevertheless, I will be tuning in from top to bottom. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you've made it this far, I really appreciate it. I really appreciate, if you've watched this video this whole length through, I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to watch my content and my this video. And I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it was worth your time. Please subscribe, Seen All MMA. Please subscribe. Please drop a like on this video. I would greatly appreciate it. And any support whatsoever for the channel, I would really, really appreciate that. I love this sport. I am very passionate about it. I think about it pretty much all day, every day. And yeah, please support the channel. I would greatly appreciate it. And yeah, that's it, man. If you've made it this far, I love you. Seriously. God bless y'all. God is good. Y'all have a good day.